We're going to start with a simple math equation. And this is coming from someone who really doesn't enjoy math except for counting money. You have two cars. They're going from Los Angeles to Chicago. One car is someone who just is taking the risk and is going to go 100 miles per hour on average to get there and is going to take roads that they've mapped out where they know they can get away with going faster. Then you have the other person who's a more conservative driver, safe person, and they don't want to take that risk. And so they're taking the safest roads, the route that has like the least risk, and they're going on average 50 miles per hour from LA to Chicago. Which person do you think gets to the destination faster? Now, you don't have to be great at math to go, well, obviously, the person who's driving at 100 miles per hour, but not if they're going 100 miles per hour in the wrong direction or taking the long route. They're taking the route, they're zigzagging all over the place, going up high grade mountain ranges. It doesn't matter that they're going faster because they're going the longer way, the harder way, where there's detours and roadblocks and setbacks versus the person who's going slow and steady the entire way, which is the direct route, the route that's been proven, the route that's planned, the route that will get you there in one piece where you're not going to end up in an accident or having multiple flat tires. My point in this analogy is it's a lesson that I had to learn the hard way in order for me to be able, with conviction, to teach it to millions and millions of you. And that we often think that by doing more and forcing and pushing and showing up and going, that we're going to get what we want, whether it's the money, the abundance, the growth, whatever, the success, get there faster. But in fact, if you really are not following a proven map and a proven plan, you're expending all of that energy and time, and you might not ever reach your destination. And this happened to me with my first business. More on this as we get into this episode of the weird shit rich people do that make them a lot of money. What up, my people, my posse, my fellow crazies? It's your host, Tiffany Carter, and this is the show that is going to help you grow your business, your bank account, that big, beautiful brain of yours, your abundance, your relationships, and everything in between. Are you still a little bit kind of shook over that question? Yeah, I know. And it seems so obvious the way I'm explaining it and pointing it out now. But like I said, I had to be that car that went 100 miles per hour and ended up crashing and then had to wait for the car to then get repaired. And then I went back again. I went, now I need to go 110, 120 miles per hour in order to make up for all that lost time on the road. And then I end up with a flat tire. And then I'm like, oh, how am I going to make up for this? Okay, I'm not going to stop anywhere and get lunch. I'm not going to stop and pee. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to dehydrate myself, whatever I have to do to get there, because that's what I need to do now. Because now I need to make up for all of this. And then before you know it, I'm falling asleep at the wheel out of exhaustion and dehydration. I never make it to Chicago. That is literally what happened in my first 5 years of business with my first company that I still have today. So that is my agency. It's a digital marketing and branding agency specializing in the pharmaceutical, medical, and health supplement space. And I didn't know what I didn't know. I never had a business before. My guess is you haven't either. You've likely never been an expert content creator. You've never been an expert marketer in terms of messaging, in terms of packaging offers, knowing how to share and showcase your offers and evoke emotion. My guess, you are also not a personal branding expert. And maybe in all the things I just named, you might be an expert or have expertise in maybe one of those areas, but certainly not in the main 6, 7 areas that you need to know and have in order to create a thriving business, whether it's online, offline, or a combination of the two. It's crazy how we enter this space going, okay, I'm going to go for it, right? I commend that. Let's do this thing. But then what you're really doing is grasping at straws. Some things work. You're like ginsuing something over here. You're using duct tape over here. Then you are kicking the can down the road over here. But at a certain point, you're not going to make it to your destination because you're so frustrated, you're so depleted, you're so resentful, you're so exhausted. Your cup is so empty because that give to receive ratio of abundance is so off, right? Where you feel like you're giving and giving and giving and doing and doing and doing and getting almost nothing in return. You can't keep that up in any area of your life. And when it comes to business, you certainly can't, because you'll have to close down your doors. You just won't be able to sustain that any longer. And that's where I was running consistently into a brick wall, and I am stubborn and I am tenacious and I am resilient. Notice I didn't say though that I'm someone who really, really just will keep working, 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 right? That I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm not those things, but I am just so relentless in my pursuit because freedom is so important to me, because I never wanted to be trapped again in working for someone else, being dependent on someone else to ask for time off, being held at a glass ceiling where I could only make so much money, even though I was the top salesperson. It was like my performance only got me so far. It got me like what, a 4% increase and maybe a bonus if the company decided to follow through with that. And then there was always the threat of layoffs. Like I couldn't do that anymore. And in having my own business, I was going to have to shut it all down and get my ass back on LinkedIn and go back into working for someone else, which that was the last thing I wanted to do, but I had to do it a different way. The 100 miles per hour really wasn't working. And what I learned from that, and why I'm going so deep into this analogy, is I know you're in that spot and it feels like you're in that spot and your brain's telling you, I need to do more. And I just need to show up and get this done. And if I followed through more, and then I need to da 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 da. And then if I post more, and then if I get on this platform, and then if I was more of this and less of this. And you're likely at this point where you're like, something has got to give. I can't keep going this way. It's obviously not working. And I know that feeling. But then the insanity is you've maybe invested in things. You've maybe bought a group coaching program. You maybe bought courses. Maybe you're inside my ProjectME Posse business coaching membership. Maybe you've never invested and you've only done free stuff. And you're still at this spot where you're not where you want to be, and you're holding yourself back because you're not being willing to make the bigger investment in order to shave off the time, in order to maximize your energy, in order for you to get there. Whoever told any of us that you're going to be able to build a business that generates lifestyle changing cash for yourself, for your family, and gives you the freedom of options that you want to travel when you want, live where you want, eat how you want, the best healthcare, the best skincare, the best schools, all of that. But yeah, you can just invest like, a couple $1,000 or, a few $100 here and there, and then you'll be able to build it. Any person who has any level of remote success in business would lovingly kind of laugh. It sounds insane. That's literally not possible. That would be like saying a doctor can become a doctor, can be a cardiovascular surgeon, but didn't have to go through a million years of school and preceptorships and residency and trainings, and then have to go back for more and more trainings and refinement. It's like you can't skip this part. That's part of business. And yes, there's a lot of things now in terms of like the cost of entry in business, and that you can leverage heavily social media and digital marketing to make you so much money organically. All that's absolutely true, but not if you are headed in the wrong direction, because you'll end up burning out. You'll end up giving up because you're not seeing any return. I know, I get it. I coach a lot of you guys who finally come to me are waving the white flag. I've had it. I'm sick and tired of this. I'm terrified to make a big investment. I've made a big investment before and it didn't pay off for whatever reason. I've never made one before, but I know if I really want to do this thing, like I've got to put major skin in the game if I want major results. And Tiff, I know you've got me. I'm here, but I'm terrified. I fucking get it. And you might not think I get it because you're like, you've got millions now. You have all this evidence for yourself. Yes, but I wasn't always here. I started at making $17,000 a year. I have one living family member I'm no contact with. I have no backup plan. The backup plan is what I had to create for myself, which is the Bank of Tiffany Carter. There isn't someone I can go to. Sure, I guess if it was really bad, are there some friends I could call who would absolutely let me live at their house and may even write me a couple checks temporarily? Absolutely, right? But like, you get what I'm saying. There is no one coming to rescue you, whether it's a partner, whether it's someone in your family bailing you out of something. If you really want what you say you want, you've got to show up and put the real skin in the game. You continuing to skirt around that, you're not going to see the results and you're going to end up wasting so much more time, energy, and money. And that's the first lesson here that we're going to get into is cost assessment. A lot of you go, should I do this now? You're seeing that I have my once a year mastermind experience, 2 full days with me in person. Like, think of going to the most profitable net ROI conference that you can do for a business and learning how to actually be able to create messaging and package offers and have a profitable content strategy and how to apply it to your business with me and my ProjectME dream team in person. And I've chosen to make it to where it's, of course, on brand and luxurious and abundant in Manhattan Beach, California, in an $80 million beach house. I don't have to do that. I'd make a lot more money hosting this in Oklahoma. Nothing wrong with Oklahoma, but in the middle of nowhere where it's cheap and you guys have to come there, I'd make a lot more money at that because obviously that's a hard cost. But we're going to get into why I've designed it the way that I've designed it. Everything I do is strategic in order to yield the most return for everyone involved, including me. But let's say you're sitting here mulling over that. Okay, like I don't know how I could make it work or I can make it work, but it's scary because I've invested before. And what if I don't get, what if this, what if that, what if I'm not far along to be there? And you go down this whole path with that. So what's your plan then? You're going to continue what? To go down a road you've never gone down before. You're going to just try different things and hope for the best and pray for the best. And I'm just going to manifest it and it's just going to work. And I'm going to leave it all to chance. This is not a good plan. You can do it that way, but the likelihood of success is very, very, very slim. Why not set yourself up and stack the odds in your favor that there's no way you can't be successful? And that's what happens as a result of coming to the mastermind. There's no way you can't be successful unless you choose to literally refuse to do anything you were taught and apply anything you were taught because the map is being handed to you. It is that freaking clear. And not you in a general term, like how to apply it to your exact business. And you want to make sure you go take advantage of this because this sells out every single year, is about to end our Money Moves pre-launch sale. So once we open this up officially to the public and run ads to it, that's when the rest of the spots sell out. and there won't be any $1,000 off. So go to projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind. It's in the description here on YouTube, link in bio on Instagram and TikTok, and of course, inside the show notes. So using this as an example, something that rich people do differently is instead of them going like focusing on, I'm scared, this might not work. What if this? What if that? Blah, 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 blah. The assessment is different. You're assessing cost in a different way. How can I make this work? How can I leverage Tiffany and her team's intellectual property, all the trial and error over all these decades of combined experience of people being there? How can I leverage that in order for me to get from Los Angeles to Chicago in 1/10 of the time? What is that worth to me? What is my time worth? Time is non-refundable. Time is something you can't get back. So successful people look at ways and in a multitude of areas of their lives of saving time is getting time back, right? We can't create more time. So you're also creating more energy, which is not, that's not always easy to create, especially if you're dealing with invisible illnesses, autoimmune stuff. You have other conditions, mental health stuff that tend to give you less energy, right? Well, you spending and expending all of this effort trying to figure stuff out, and it's not, and I'm going this direction and that's not working. And then all the mindset stuff that comes up and the frustration, all of that drains the hell out of you. So when you're doing the cost assessment, it's like, is this going to save me more from that? Yes. Is this going to save me a ton of time and energy and frustration? Yes. How can I make this work? How can I make this happen? There's always a fucking way. What's at stake here if I don't do this? What's at stake if I can continue to just wander down this route where I have already gotten into a car accident? I've already gotten flat tires. I've already gone over this crazy loop-de-loop mountain range that I wasn't expecting, right? Like, how can I avoid more of that shit and more pitfalls that are going to take me out of the consistency game, that are going to pull me into the sidelines? And now I'm literally stalled on the side of the road, not making progress. And if you're looking at an opportunity like this, that's going to help you get somewhere faster, easier, more simply, with more joy, you're not just going to make, obviously, all the money back and then some over and over again, but you're going to save in your other personal precious commodities of time and energy and mental health, and also having the support of the people. So I just wanted you to look at that particular opportunity I have as an example. And what is the cost of me continuing to just bumble around and like do a little boop boop here and a little boop boop there? What's the cost of me not going all in on my dream? What's the cost of me toe dipping? What's the cost of me half-assing? You have to be honest with yourself. So you are just making different assessments. Now, let's look at it at something that can seem so much smaller, but that's really not. So I make assessments with every fucking thing I do in my day. Now, keep in mind, I've been practicing this a long time. So I'm not expecting you to go from the way that you've been doing things to this rich people's best kept secret way. So even let's talk about, I needed to get a cord for my laptop that I still have not. My new laptop from November that I have still not transferred from my late model 2013. We're getting closer. And then I will be starting a support group for people who are insane. And I needed to get a cord from Apple. And at the beach house, there's an Apple store that's not far away. It's not a tough errand to run. It's in the rich people's mall. So it's actually a really nice mall. But I look at the time. How long is it going to take me to drive there, park, go in, get the thing? We know I'm going to get shiny object and want to look at things, and then want to get some kind of like a green juice. And then I'm going to look at something else. let's be honest with myself. How long is it going to take me to get that one damn cord? Even at best case scenario, okay, with the factors of me hitting every red light, maybe even me running into like somebody and having a chat. Best case scenario, I don't know, an hour, okay? What's an hour of my time worth? Not just that time, but the energy it took me. Because, you can tell yourself, I'm just going to go to the bank or I'm going to go to the grocery store, but then you end up in traffic, someone cuts you off, other stuff happens, you get frustrated. It expends energy. And if you're someone like me who has a limited amount of energy every day, we all do, but some of us have wake up with less, whether it's your PMSing, whether, like I said, you have adrenal insufficiency, hormone stuff going on, food sensitivities, mental health stuff, whatever. So my energy to me is just as precious as my time. That's not worth it to me to go for an hour. It's not a joy generating activity or an income generating activity for me to get this cord. So Apple has a service where they will deliver the cord for you. But I think it's like, depending on how far it is from your house, it's like you're paying $10. So now the cord that was 16, let's just say is now $30. You could go, that's absolutely ridiculous. No, it's not. That's like getting your groceries delivered, which I know a lot of people, and you've likely like converted over to having your groceries delivered. That's why I have had Jackie, my house manager, since I was 26 years old when I was in corporate pharmaceutical sales. And at 26, I believe my salary was like 58,000. It was either 58 or 68. I think I was at 68,000. Okay. It wasn't like IS was rolling in it, but I learned from someone else who had much more wealth than me, and me asking questions and being curious why they would do it, because it doesn't look like it makes sense. It looks like it makes sense when you see Tiffany now. Oh, of course she has a house manager. I'm surprised she doesn't have a personal assistant running around, blah, 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 blah. That can make sense. And then you could tell yourself, well, once I'm in that position, of course I'll do that. No, no, no. You want to get in that position. You want to get in the position I am, or much further beyond in that sense, whatever your, wealth and freedom goals are. You got to do this stuff ahead of time to get that time and energy back. That's what's going to get you there a lot faster. So you want to see me get really annoyed is when someone wastes my time. This is why there is no picking my brain for free. There is no, hey, let's just go out to lunch. I'd love to take you to lunch and like, get your advice on something. I am incredibly discerning about what I agree to, even things that where people could probably think I'm being bitchy, maybe even stingy, maybe even, not a generous friend. But if I want what I say I want, I have to be that intentional with assessing the cost. What is it costing you with how you're currently toe dipping, playing cheap, half assing in your life? What is it costing you on your health, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially? And you've got to be really fucking honest with yourself. What's it costing you to sit on the phone with that fucking friend who, yes, you've known a long time, and they're just complaining again about their husband or their weight, and they've still not done anything about it, and they want advice from you? I have recently gone to another level of being much stricter in my assessments, because the higher you want to rise, the more of the weight, the dead weight you have to cut off. And you have a lot of dead weight that you're giving time and energy to. Now, you love doing embroidery, you love drawing, you love just floating in the pool like me, you like your bath time to read. I'm not saying to compromise that. That's a joy generating activity, right? That also gives you energy back, and in a sense it gives you time back as well, because then when you go and do your other activities that you need to do, you'll have more mental bandwidth and clarity because you've taken care of yourself. So it's just a different way of assessing things. I recently hired a top tier health coach for lack of a better term, I mean, she's also a physician, to go next level in doing the body work and the healing of my inflammation I have, hormones, all the things. Could I have gone through my top tier insurance and gone through that way? I live in Los Angeles, right? Like there's a lot of things I could do that's covered through my insurance that I probably could have done, maybe even that cost me less money, but that's not how I do my assessment. What is it costing me to research all the fucking doctors, to research all the labs, go to the labs, get this, get that, drive here, go here, have to wait in the waiting room, all the energy, me being depleted, me having resentments against our shitty health system and how crappy it is to navigate, and then how much longer it's going to take for me to get the results I want in feeling so good in my body. Why would I want to deprive myself of getting the results I so badly want by taking the long route? Why wouldn't I want to find a way to invest in being able to get to where I want to go and how I deserve to feel faster? Why would I hold myself back from that? That's a much more worth an investment. And don't think for a second, I didn't have the thought of, well, I could have taken that money and invested it in ads for my business and made a lot more money, or played it in the stock market and made more money. Doesn't matter. What is more money going to do at a certain point if you're not at your optimum health? Do you guys see what I do here with this assessment? So I need you to start assessing costs differently. Not what is this going to cost me in terms of how much money, and it being in scarcity of, what if this doesn't work, and what if it doesn't pan out, and what if I do all this and it's not worth my time? That is not going to get you anywhere you want to go in life. You need to flip it over and go, what is it going to cost me to continue fucking around and not going all in this area of my life? Next thing is, you need to look at ways to be able to be in your best energy at any given time. And this is stuff that might not sound sexy. It's kind of weird. I'm doing my best to explain this. So I really hope it's landing, because like I said, these are some weird things that rich people don't really talk about that they do, because I think some of them can feel like it's hard to explain, or they haven't taken the time to really sit there and go, yeah, this is what I do differently. This is a big part of how I got here. And I do know Tony Robbins. I've not been following his stuff for some time now. No shade on him. It's just doesn't grab me as it once did, but I know he's big on this, which it's about your energy. And I know you've heard a lot of stuff about your energy, it's your energy, it's your energy. But let me tie this back to how this makes you rich. Haven't you ever gone to write like an email, even record a video, a piece of content, even having to call up like an insurance company, or even a credit card company? You had like a janky charge on there, and your tank is pretty fucking empty. And how much longer it takes you to get something done, and how much more miserable you are doing it, right? And how many things you start letting slip in your household, in your personal life, personal care stuff, dreams, goals that you have, stuff that you keep kicking the can down the road and you put them to the side because you just don't have any energy. You don't have any mental bandwidth, physical bandwidth to give to it. So you're like, I'm going to wait till I have more energy. Maybe next month, maybe once I'm feeling better. I haven't been sleeping well lately. And it takes you so much longer to get things done. And then it just perpetuates the procrastination. That's the cost of not managing your energy. And how can you manage your energy the best? And a lot of people teach it where you've got a cold plunge, You've got to have, amazing sleep hygiene and you need to eat this certain type of way. And I know how overwhelming that can feel because it's like, well, God, I'm already exhausted. I am already, starved for time. And now I've got to do more shit. Like I don't have it in me to do more. No, here's really where you need to go with it first. I'm not saying if it delights you to add those things, but it's kind of what we've been programmed in modern society is that you have to add more, you have to do more, you have to be more, you have to get more. It supports, consumership, right? That's what we get propaganda towards us all the time. And that's actually what you need to do is less. This is why I always say you work less and you make more, but it has to be strategic. It's not like I work less and I sit back and do nothing. That's entitlement. So with energy, it's no different. Where am I leaking energy? And then we just plug the holes. That's not requiring you to do more. That's requiring you to do less. So I want you to start and take a look of what is draining your energy. There's shit that's draining you. You've been doing it so long. You have a micro leak and you don't even realize it's leaking until you've stopped the leak. And even a couple weeks goes by and you go, you know what? I have more energy. You likely also have a pretty fucking big leak and you might not see that. They're usually people leaks. It's so familiar to you because you're used to having that leak because that leak you had in childhood. This leak's been going on a long time and you're having to do so many other things to keep your energy up, to keep, so to speak, the no water in the boat. You have to do so much to constantly scoop out that water because you have so much water coming in, but all of that extra energy and that activity of you having to do that is just so normal and familiar to you, you don't even notice it. It's like I have a friend, more like a family member, but not a blood relative, obviously. And it wasn't until he stopped smoking for a full year that he realized how much the act of smoking cigarettes was absolutely depleting his energy. Because his story was he had to smoke to get energy, because obviously there are chemicals in there that are activating in cigarettes. And he couldn't see that until a year out. He didn't see the true payoff of quitting for a year. Right? It's like, so you have things like that that are going on, and you have other things that you will see very quickly by removing certain things, and some of them you'll see faster than others. So I want you to take an assessment of what are you taking in terms of who are you following and watching on social media? What are you binge watching on TV? What types of music are you listening to? What types of books are you reading? Information are you taking in? That's in your control. It's not going to take you any energy, any extra time to shift and replace. I've been binging a ton of true crime. I've been binging a ton of political stuff. I get into the scroll hole. These are all things that are sucking and depleting your time and energy. So you got to look at that. Then I need you to do an assessment of people time. This is strangers. These are also people. This could be someone you're married to. There are people in all the different circle rungs in your life. Who are you giving a lot of energy to? Who even just being around them, even if you really didn't speak much, even just the thought of even having to see them, meeting them out, being on the phone call with them, even gives you like anticipatory anxiety. That's an energy leakage. Who do you walk away from whether it's a family gathering, a work situation, whatever, where you, even a client or an employee? I've fired employees before where they actually were good at their job, but their energy was so draining and soul sucking to everybody. And it took me a while to realize it. And then once they were gone, I had other people on the team come to me and go, "Oh my God, it's so much lighter and more fun and more expansive." And it's like, well, we clearly know who the leak was. right? It can really be as powerful as it being one person or one activity that you're doing that needs to stop. Maybe you're filled your entire life with have tos and you have it so programmed in you. I have to do this. I have to clean this. I have to make the dinner for this. I have to get this done. I've got to make all the medical appointments for everyone in my family. I've got to do this for my business. I've got to do that. And you've stacked so many things and labeled them as have tos where they really aren't have tos. There are things that can either be delegated to someone else, they can be removed and deprioritized very quickly. Like I have a client where we did this exercise because she was claiming, right, that she didn't have any time and energy to put into growing her business. That's what it felt like to her, but she knows that's not really true. It's just her story. And I go, well, let's get you time and energy back. And one of the things we stopped is this whole thing of she has to like get her hair done every month. She has to have the nails done every month, the lashes. And she had the money to get all that done, but it was the stress and the time of doing all of that. So we moved things around and we've just deprioritized that temporarily. And that's that. That doesn't mean you can't come back to some of these things. So I want you doing a true assessment. Picture like you have a boat, and before you're going to put yourself and your loved ones in that boat, your ass is going to make sure you fill it with water and see if there's any leaks. And you're really taking a detailed, honest look. It could be how you're eating. Are you eating fistfuls of sugar before you go to bed at night? And you know damn well that that is impacting your sleep, or are you drinking at night? And yeah, it makes you fall asleep, but we know every study says how that drastically impacts your quality of sleep, which then drains your energy. And you drain your energy and mental bandwidth, it's going to drain your time. And you have enough of these leaks going on. No wonder your story is, I'm exhausted. I don't have it in me to start the podcast. I don't know what to even say in my posts. I want to go to Tiffany's mastermind, but it sounds like that's going to be a lot of extra work. And then I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this in order to go there for those 2 full days. And like, how am I going to be able to do that? And blah, 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 blah. There's always a way to do whatever it is that you want to do, but you're going to have to take a much more careful assessment of all of your actions and lack of actions and what that is costing you. And when you do that, you're going to get so much time and energy and mental clarity back that everything becomes easier. You're going to get to your destination faster. Yes, you do have to spend money if you want to make the kind of life-changing money you want. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you can scrap a doodle it up and then just make it. To a certain point, absolutely. Can you scrap a doodle? You're damn right. I scrap a doodled in the beginning too. And I was able to pay my mortgage and my car payment, but I did not have financial freedom by doodling. I was making it, right? So I was an entrepreneur. I was making it. But the second I wasn't working or got sick, I was fucked. I was falling behind. It was all time for money. And it was creating a different type of being trapped, right? It wasn't working for someone else. And I was trapped working for myself. So you're not going to be able to expand to where you really have that life of freedom where you're like, oh, like yesterday when I was looking in my PayPal and in my Stripe accounts, I just wanted to make sure that one of our tech things was working because I got a weird alert. And I looked in there and I was like, it's literally midday on a Saturday and I've already made $1,950 and I haven't done anything. And I didn't have to go in and look and see what they bought, but I've set it up this way. It gets to be this way. And this gets to happen faster than your wildest imagination, but not if you're doing the scrap-a-doo, not if you're scrap-a-doodling your time, your energy, your business, your money. It has to be done with intention. So if I were to bottom line the weirdest thing that rich people do that is genuinely different, it's the amount of weird analysis that goes into every single activity. And I'm not even joking you. From what do I do when I'm brushing my teeth? I'm doing my abundance morning routine while I'm brushing my teeth. Me making my coffee from home. It's not just to save money. That initially started that way back in the day, but the amount of time it would take me to go to a Starbucks, to wait in line at a Starbucks, and if I know somebody or someone recognizes me in the Starbucks and talking to someone in the Starbucks, like I would rather make it at home. And while I'm making at home, I can do my mindfulness practice, or I can be reading something for pleasure, or I could be creating content. Every little thing, and it's not exhausting. It's actually a really fun puzzle when you start to look at it. I don't enjoy cooking. It's not a joy generating activity for me. Okay. And if it's joy generating for you, I'm all about it. I want you to do that. But for me, it's hard. It's not fun. I don't enjoy it. And it's time consuming. Why would I fucking do it? And yeah, if you look at my credit card, you go, spends a lot of money on DoorDash and Uber Eats. Okay. Like to the point where it can be comical. But let's say I spend $1,300-$1,400 a month on it. Okay. Which I think that's what it's around. Or at least I want to think that's where it's around. So I'm spending that. Okay. So look at that for a second. All the time it would take me if I went to the grocery store or had to order all the shit to be delivered, then me prepping it all while it draining my energy because it'd be a have to. I don't enjoy it or delight in it. So it doesn't feed me back. It doesn't give me any energy back. All the time that would take, all during all of that time that would be happening almost daily or at least 5 times a week, I could be writing emails to you guys. I could be recording podcast episodes. I can be coming up with new programs and ideas and offers in order to sell and profit from. I could be having a meeting, potentially investing with other businesses and having time for those meetings. I could be doing a joy generating activity for me and getting a massage or taking an abundance walk. Make sure you guys also grab my summer abundance walks. It's my free gift for you. You need to be doing these in less than 3 minutes a day. You are going to shift out of scarcity and back into the abundance zone. And this is absolutely another thing that goes back to your energy of what you're taking in, right? You're taking in this podcast that gives you energy back, right? Like that's my whole point here is to like energize you, uplift you, have you think differently. Have it sometimes it'll feel like it's a comfy blanket. Other times it's going to like fire you up. And you do my summer abundance walks, that is definitely something that is going to get you that energy back and therefore get you that time back and therefore make you money. So you can go to projectmewithtiffany.com/summer abundance. That is also in the show notes in the description here on YouTube at ProjectME TV. I really hope this landed with you today. I know it's unconventional, but I am speaking with receipts and from great experience that you start really looking at all these things, you'll go, holy shit. No wonder I'm depleted. I'm exhausted. No wonder I don't have time for this. No wonder it takes me longer to do anything. No wonder why I feel so like mentally stuck and stagnant and all over the place. I had so many fucking holes in my boat and I've been operating like this so long, I didn't fucking see them. And some of them are going to really shook you, where you even thought that you spending time with a certain person was actually something that should be energizing and should give you time back. It's kind of like you thought they were a cheerleader, but they're actually a hater in disguise. I just got rid of one of those. And I was like, that's why doing a regular assessment and inventory of the stuff is so important. It's not a one and done deal. Because just like in a boat, you take enough trips, man, you're going to end up with a hole. It's inevitable, right? We're human beings. Stuff happens. We miss stuff, wear and tear. And so you have to do that regular assessment. And thankfully, I caught this, you know, sooner than later. But some of the stuff you're going to be pissed at yourself. How didn't I see this? Some of the stuff you already know. You're hearing me talk about it now and you go, I know what I have to do. It's long overdue. This was my fucking sign. And I want you to take a screenshot of this episode and share it in your Instagram, Facebook stories. And even went, this was my sign. Because I know it is. You're like, I feel guilty. I don't want to have to do this. This has been long overdue. I have to fire this person. I have to distance myself from this person. I have to energetically cut off myself from this person. I need to stop this habit. I need to replace this with this thing. I absolutely know what it is. I know you have one of those, and this is your sign, and it is worth it to do this, or I wouldn't have done a whole episode around this thing. The cost is much bigger than you realize, and you'll see what the cost was once you actually stop it and remove it. And then that's going to get you more excited and more fueled to take that deeper assessment of the holes in your boat and plug more of them. Because you're like, oh my God, look at what I got from doing this. I need to go around and like take a magnifying glass. And that's where I'm at now, is we're at magnifying glass level and zero fucks about it. Zero fucks given. Wishing you great health, wealth, and worth as always. Love you. Go check out the mastermind page, projectmewithtiffany.com/mastermind. All the testimonials, all the details, all the things are in there. Yes, we have payment plans. If you are needing a customized payment plan and you really genuinely need it, you can email us, and the email for our support email is on that mastermind page. And we do make allowances for people that have unique situations who we can tell are really like in it to win it and not just trying to like somehow get away with something. We know the difference after doing this a long time.